Hi, I'm Dr. JB, and today I'm going to interview Dr. Ralf Jager. Hi, Ralf.
Hey, JB.
So what we're going to talk about today for MRM is Cram. This is cognitive recall, attention and memory. It's a product you were involved with developing, and so what we wanted to do is just get your take on this product. Firstly, can you just give us a little bit of a background to Cram?
Cram actually is a new product that has been developed by MRM and clinically tested. It is a product that is aimed at the brain function, so it supports your brain functions. It actually has been shown to help maintain focus, alertness, and reaction time during times of enhanced stress. The uniqueness about the product is that it's not relying on borrowed science, meaning on the science that is available on its ingredients. Actually, the finished product has been tested in a university study. And the most surprising thing about Cram is that it's not a product that you have to take on a daily basis for a certain amount of time. It already makes a difference from the very first time you try the product.
Let's have a look at Cram in a little bit more detail. So I can remember university days often studying very hard but not remembering what I studied, and obviously this is exactly the target functionality for this product. Is that right?
And that is perfectly right. Actually, Cram has been designed to help you study hard and try to remember things better that you actually have studied. And it's exactly as you described. If you are actually studying really hard, then at a certain point your brain just gets exhausted, and then you try even harder to learn more things, but your brain is just not able to grasp all that information. And usually what happens is that the longer you study, the worse your recall is going to be of what you have studied.
What we can do is really help people to not just study longer and harder, but retain that information more effectively. Is that right?
Yeah, that is absolutely correct. Basically, what you're trying to do is try to prevent the so-called mental fatigue. So you try to make sure that the brain is able to actually convert all that information and actually stores the information long term.
So there is another aspect to this, and that is that some people, as they grow older, have a decline in their cognitive function. And so this product can be helpful for these people also.
Absolutely. The product actually is able to help you with so-called age-related cognitive decline. What actually happens is at the age of 25, you reach the maximum of your brain capacity. From the age of 25 up to the age of 70, you actually lose more than half of the memory capacity that you had at a younger age. So Cram actually has been designed and contains ingredients that helps you to slow down the process of age-related cognitive decline and maybe get some years back on your brain's age, because also the brain's age actually is different from your physical age. They don't really have to match, and the brain also is something that has to be trained like a muscle, so the more often you use it, the better off you are.
Let's talk now a little bit about the various ingredients that are in Cram. Can you go into those in a bit more detail for us?
Cram actually has two sets of very unique and powerful ingredients. The first set of ingredients actually is aimed at increasing the amount and the release of neurotransmitters. That is the communication system of your brain. It contains alpha-GPC and acetyl-L-carnitine to increase the amounts of acetylcholine, one of your most important neurotransmitters in your brain. It also contains L-tyrosine, which is involved in increasing the amounts of dopamine in your brain, which actually helps you with mood as well as dealing with stressful situations. And also a key ingredient is phosphatidylserine, which has been known to increase memory while we age, the age-related cognitive decline, but also has been shown to improve your fluidity of your brain cells. And if your brain cells the fluidity is better, then the whole brain cell functions better, so the communication is better, and all the enzymes and all the other biological things that are going on in your cell work way better.
Okay, so that's the first group of ingredients. Then the second group of ingredients focus on another aspect of function here.
They focus more on the areas of energy, focus, and concentration. Cram contains caffeine, about the amount that is present in your regular cup of coffee. And caffeine obviously is able to stimulate concentration and alertness. Also, the product contains three very powerful B vitamins, the so-called brain vitamins, B3, B6, and B12. And the B vitamins are known to be able to transfer the food into fuel, into glucose for your brain, so it's the energy source, and also are involved in the production of neurotransmitters.
We know that the brain is only able to use glucose as a fuel, so obviously being able to convert food into fuel in the right form for brain function is critically important.
It is absolutely, and if you actually look at the clinical test, you can actually see how the brain is using glucose as the energy source. If you put a person and you look at their glucose metabolism in the brain and you ask them a challenging question, you can actually see that the glucose metabolism is increased and the brain is using glucose as your energy source. And PS is one of the ingredients that has been shown to be able to increase glucose utilization, and also the B vitamins are involved in that.
Well, obviously very, very important ingredients. So you talked earlier about university testing. How exactly did you go about looking at this final formulation?
We were interested in really putting Cram to the test and run it through a double-blind, placebo-controlled clinical study at a university in the United States. The double-blind, placebo-controlled is the gold standard that actually is used for clinical studies to really make sure that your product is doing what you actually designed the product to do. What has been done is actually twofold. First, we looked at reaction time using the Makoto testing device, and secondly, we looked at subjective feelings of focus and alertness during the test. Maybe I should explain a little bit about the Makoto device that is used to measure reaction time. The Makoto device is a triangular in shape and consists of 3 steel towers that are 6 feet high. Each tower contains actually 10 targets. For each test, the subject stood in the middle of the triangle and faced one of the towers with the other 2 in his peripheral vision. During the next 4 minutes, the subjects were required to react to both visual as well as auditory, so sound stimulus. The subjects were asked to make contacts to the target prior to the light and sound stopping. If the subject actually made contact with the target within the required time, it was registered as a hit, and the subjects were actually asked to do this continuously for 4 minutes. So for 4 minutes they had to react to the stimulus and actually try to gain as many hits as possible. The test subjects that we looked at were actually 19 healthy college students, average age around 21 years of age. The amazing results actually were that even one-time consumption of Cram was able to prevent the mental fatigue that was experienced in the placebo group. So what you see in the placebo group is that the reaction time goes down, alertness and focus goes down. And Cram supplementation actually was able to keep those levels steady at baseline, meaning that you can prevent mental fatigue.
So that sounds like a very stressful kind of test. And so to be able to get that kind of response with the very first administration, I think that's really quite startling.
That is absolutely unique, and just a one-time consumption is very uncommon for nutritional supplements to actually show efficacy. Usually you have to take the ingredients over a certain period of time to actually let them accumulate in your system. But the ingredients in Cram are so powerful that just a one-time consumption actually does the job.
Exactly how would you go about using Cram?
The suggested use of Cram is to take 3 capsules daily, or as directed by your qualified healthcare provider. You should actually take the product briefly before you are going into your exam, or if you're basically studying. As I said, if you're going through a period where you have to study a lot, then take it daily. Otherwise, you can actually take it right before you actually go into your critical phase of your learning or your exam.
And obviously we're talking about students here, but clearly anyone that needs really high levels of focus are going to benefit from this. So we could certainly think about athletes who are in high pressure situations, people in the business world who may be going into a particularly high pressure situation. They would all benefit from this as well, wouldn't they?
Absolutely. So the same mechanism that works in college students, which work for athletes and managers, basically for everyone that needs a little extra energy and focus and wants to prevent mental fatigue.
The other thing that you have is a fantastic website, cramfusion.com, and this has some really fantastic resources to complement the product itself, some information on foods, learning techniques, and so on. Can you tell us more about that?
On cramfusion.com, we actually wanted to highlight and give you additional tools, not just Cram, but additional tools that will help you to perform better during those situations. Actually, the website's going to tell you what you should eat or snack during study. It highlights the 10 best brain foods that are out there that will actually help you to perform better. That highlights the foods that you should eat during times of study and additional brain functions that are needed during those times. It tells you about learning techniques. Every human being learns differently, and what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for the other. So actually, we have highlighted 10 different techniques and tips on how to learn in the best way. And lastly, we also have a quiz on there. So as I mentioned earlier, the brain is similar like a muscle, so you have to train it to make sure it performs at its best. So we have what we call brain benders. So there are tests and questions that help you train your test-taking skills as well as critical thinking skills.
So these are kind of like exercises to just work out this important muscle between your ears, the brain.
That is absolutely right. You just go to the website and actually look at the tests that are out there, and then just go through the test and make sure that your brain is in a working mood.
Well, that's excellent. Thank you so much, Ralf, for giving us that background on Cram. For more information or to order Cram, you can go to that cramfusion.com website we just mentioned. Of course, Cram's an MRM product, so you can also order it through the mrm-usa.com website. And we thank you for your attention.